This is just a reminder of how we work out circumference and area for circles. So I'm just going to talk you through a few examples. Just a quick reminder that the diameter of the circle goes the whole way across through the centre of the circle, so that's your diameter, and the radius is from the centre to the edge of the circle. So the radius is half of the diameter, or the diameter is 2 times the radius. Okay, and we have our two formulas here for area and for circumference. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to use the pi button on my calculator, but if you are not using a calculator, you can choose to use the approximation for pi, which we take as 3.14. In this question here, I am given that the diameter is 11 centimetres. So if the diameter is 11 centimetres and I want to work circumference, then I can work with that because we know that C is pi times the diameter. So that is pi times 11, and that works out to be 34.557 and so on. And I'm just going to round it to 1 decimal place. So 34.6 centimetres, because the circumference, remember, is just the distance around the outside. So it's just a distance, so we're measuring in centimetres. A second example here, so again, let's write down what we know. So this time it's given us the radius, which is 4 centimetres. However, what I want to use for circumference is the diameter, so I'm going to just double that to get my diameter of 8 centimetres. And then we just plug it into the formula. So C equals pi times D. That is pi times 8, which is 25.1 centimetres. And again, I've rounded that to 1 decimal place. Okay, this example is asking us to find the perimeter of this semicircle. Now, the perimeter, remember, is the distance around the outside of the shape. So for this one, we have this curved section to work out, and then we also have the straight edge along the bottom there. So we're going to have to work with this in 2 parts. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine it as a full circle, just so that I can see what I'm working with here. All right, and for the full circle, we can see that the diameter is 8 centimetres, and the radius, therefore, would be 4 centimetres. So I'm just going to write that information down before I start. We're looking at perimeter, so it's going to be part of the circumference. So we're going to use a circumference formula, which we know is pi times d, and that would be pi times 8. And sticking that into the calculator gives me 25.13, and so on. Now, the circumference we've worked out would be for the full circle. So what I need to do is I need to half that to get the curved length there. So we're just going to half or 25.13, and when I do that, that gives me 12.566. So rounding to 1 decimal place, it would be 12.6 centimetres. Okay, so we've got the curved length. Now we just need to add the 8 centimetres from that straight edge at the bottom to get the perimeter of the full shape. So 12.6 plus 8, which is 20.6 centimetres. So these examples are just looking at the area. So if I just again start with the information I'm given, in this one I'm given r equals 7 centimetres, and the formula for area of a circle is pi r squared. So we have the information we need. So that is pi times 7 squared, and pi times 7 squared is 153.93 something. So again, I'm just going to round my answers to 1 decimal place here, 153.9, and this time it's centimetres squared because we're working on area. And for this final example, it's a slightly more complicated example, but only slightly. it's asking us to work out the area of the shaded ring. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to work out two things. We're going to work out the area of this outside circle, first of all, and then we're going to work out the area of the smaller circle, and we're going to take that away from the area of the bigger circle. So for the bigger circle, first of all, the information that we're given here is we're told that the diameter is 8 centimetres, and we can see that at the bottom of the diagram there. However, for area, we want the radius. So I'm just going to half that diameter and write my radius is 4. So going over to area, that is pi times 4 squared. And pi times 4 squared is 50.265. Okay. And then for my smaller circle, so on the smaller circle, again, we're given the diameter, which this time is 5 centimetres, and we're going to half that to get the radius, 2.5 centimetres. So area is pi times r squared. That is pi times 2.5 squared, 19.634, and so on. So we got our two areas, so what we're going to do is we're going to subtract the smaller area from the bigger, and that will tell us our shaded ring area. And I can just use those unrounded values to get a more accurate answer and put them into calculator. We see the final answer there, 30.63, and again round to one decimal place, 30.6 centimetres squared